Good afternoon. Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Danielle Weiner here from Mill Creek Gardens in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Danielle, thanks for jumping on.
Thanks for having me.
It is my pleasure. If you don't mind, I'd love to ask you 6 questions about Mill Creek Gardens and share it with our clients and community. When people ask you what Mill Creek Gardens does, how do you describe it?
Sure. We grow plants and flowers, but what I would really say is we're in the business of making people happy. We truly believe that plants and flowers make people happy. You certainly get a boost when you spend time in the greenhouse or in sunshine, digging in the dirt. So while it is in a certain sense a product that we're offering, it's also an opportunity to really counsel and offer support to our customer's soul and make them feel better.
That is beautiful. Yeah. And I have read in several different resources that plants actually scientifically do make you calmer, and they can actually sense your emotions as well.
Yeah, they're a little more complex than what I think we've all initially thought about them. And if anything, it's just we spend so much time on our screens, on our phones, and just for us to be of the earth again, kind of how we all started, is just so important. And we have dirty hands here. That's what we do. We dig in the dirt. For our job. And I think our team loves that. The folks that come for interactive workshops love that, because it's not the norm anymore. And we all actually do need to have those tactile experiences. And I feel like we have a great opportunity to give that to folks.
That is so cool. Thank you. So what were your plans when you started Mill Creek Gardens, and how have they changed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think our primary goal when we purchased Mill Creek and really started was to have a business that offered our family support and flexibility. So I think sometimes it's easy to think, oh, you're going to start a business, you're going to live your dream. And I think a lot of times it's a lot more just like it's more transactional. It's like we want to start a business because we want to support ourselves and we want to have the flexibility to make our own choices. It's like that double-edged sword where it's like you can be very successful or there's no one there to catch you. So I think initially it was an opportunity for my husband and I to work together. It was an opportunity for us to build something. You know, before the recording, we were talking about we both experienced other things. We both lived in Milwaukee and then brought kind of some of our experiences from a bigger city or just amongst our travels in Europe and other places. We wanted to bring that to our community in Marshfield, which, you know, we're in the center of the state where someone could say you're in the middle of nowhere. I don't feel like that, but if you're comparing it to Milwaukee or New York City or any other large city, yeah, Marshfield could feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. So it was a very practical reason. Now, where we're at, where we are able to support our family, we're able to support a staff of 15 to 25, depending on the season. It's how can we bring value to our customers, and how can we find those things in business that are easy for us to do, that we can do over and over again, and we're adding value. So I think sometimes as a business owner, you want to take a challenge and say, oh, well, we're going to do this. We're going to fight the good fight, and it's going to be really hard. But really, we're looking for the things that we're good at, that we can just do over and over again and find value in that work. And then have our customer, whether it's a retail or wholesale customer, say, yeah, I want to buy that. And it can be easy, as opposed to, running a business that maybe we aren't solving anyone's problem. You know, we want to be able to solve the problem so that the answer is yes, we want your plans, or yes, we want your service. So I think there's a little bit more finesse now than when we started.
Very interesting. Absolutely. And you've had to grow, like pun intended, you've had to grow as your business has changed that way.
I love playing puns, so you can just keep going.
Okay, cool. So, when you started, it was just a few of you, and now you're 12 and then 25. So you've truly had to grow and offer more. I know you shared also that you started with springtime flowers and hanging baskets. And now, can you tell me a little bit more, our viewers a little bit more about what you're offering during the different seasons?
Sure. So I like to start always in the spring season because I feel like that's what folks really understand when you think about giving your mom or someone special in your life a gift for Mother's Day. It's usually flowers. And so we have spring flowers, May or April until the summertime. But then usually by the time the end of the summer hits, your flowers are looking a little sad. You've forgotten to water them and you want a fall refresh. So that's where fall mums come in, decorative kale, things that kind of can hold true or survive when the weather gets just a little bit colder. And then you kind of head into winter, where everyone is looking for kind of some fresh green. So a wreath on your door for the holiday season, garland. Those are all things that our staff, we get those raw materials in from local farms and we make that garland. And we make the wreaths and we make porch pots. So that's kind of our seasonal part. But then the crop that we're growing all year round is indoor plants. So everyone knows when the pandemic hit, everyone needed a plant and they didn't need just one. They wanted to fill their whole windowsill with them, which was great, wonderful. I think everyone we went through some really, really tough years and months. And so the one thing that we've experienced that was good that came out of that is people realize plants do serve us. And so we grow indoor plants all year round. We've been able to make our facility, upgrade our facility so that we can grow. And we also, we're really proud that we use only waste wood to heat our greenhouses. So if you know anything about heating your home or heating greenhouses, you need some sort of resource to do that. Initially, when we purchased the business, we were on propane. Now we're on wood heat. So a lot more sustainable. A lot of these, the wood that comes to us are from downed trees from, tornadoes or severe storms. And then we're able to put it in our boiler and that heats all the greenhouses. So we were fortunate we've received 2 REAP grants from the USDA because this is a sustainable source of energy. So it's important for folks to know how plants are grown and where they came from. And we love telling that story because it's our hands that do it, from, little baby cutting to a plant that you would take home.
Yeah. Well, so that actually answered part of my next question is what is one of the biggest ways you impact the community? So one way you're actually taking down trees and using those. Wow, that's incredible. What are other ways that you're impacting the community?
Yeah, so I think if anything, it's a lot like we talked about. It's just, we are a place that anyone can come and experience something different that isn't necessarily your sanitized environment that we're used to going to. So I'm very proud of that. I'm just as proud about our sustainability because you think about all the things that it takes to make a plant actually arrive at your doorstep. It's a lot. And so we want to be responsible in all those ways. So part of that is sustainable heating. You can't get away from that. Even if we wouldn't be in Wisconsin, greenhouses still need heat in the evening when there isn't sun. And then also just what are we using for materials? We're doing our best as much as we can to use compostable pots so that we aren't using quite as much plastic. And then we are this year kind of working on ramping up a solar panel system. So hopefully, in the next year or so, we won't even be on the grid as far as electricity goes. So it's really important. I wish the horticulture industry has done a better job, but it's not. People look at us, oh, you green plants, we must be eco-friendly and all that. And unfortunately, our industry isn't necessarily trending green. We're sometimes, you get a plant, it dies, you throw it away. And I would love our industry to think more about where is our energy coming from, where is our heat coming from, and we want to be able to feel like we're doing good to the earth, not just filling landfills with plastic.
Yeah, absolutely, that's beautiful. What is another challenge that you have faced that other business owners can learn from? I know you've already talked about some of that. Is there anything else that you wanted to highlight there?
Well, I think, my husband and I, neither of us have a greenhouse or horticulture degree. So we've learned a lot kind of just it's really just on the ground training. Thankfully, he has an engineering degree that allows him to troubleshoot through a lot of equipment, to develop kind of new systems. I have a theology and psychology degree, so I have the ability of just understanding a little bit how, you know, our minds work and, you know, what's appealing to folks when they're coming to the greenhouse and those types of things. But I would just say it's to have all the skills is one thing, like to know what you're doing and like that, like physically what needs to be done, the brass tacks of it, but grit is a whole nother thing. Like as a business owner, there's no one that's going to say, this is how you should do it. There's a lot of people that'll tell you how they think you should run your business, but there isn't really, like, you have to decide and you have to be willing to do the work that it takes to do it right and to be successful. And I would say that's the piece where it's okay. We have felt okay that we don't know all the things by the book because we're relying on our work ethic and our grit. Like if we make a mistake, if we fail, we get up again. Yeah. And that's one thing I think that of my business owner friends, I see that in them. I'm inspired by that. It's not that I'm wishing I had all of their knowledge that comes from their specific trade. It's like, I want to learn about that. Like, how do you actually problem solve through things, or how do you act when you utterly fail? Sure. And that's, I think, the piece that I wish I would have understood that earlier. Yeah, I mean, if anything, it just becomes a really fun, like, I sound very lighthearted when I say this. It's just, it's a fun game. Like, okay, what are we gonna do next, and how are we going to do it better? And if anything, that makes it so you enjoy your job, and I enjoy my job. So.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Yeah. And a lot of our business coaches will actually say, you know, when you fail, you have this huge opportunity to learn.
Oh, yeah.
And business is a game in a lot of ways. It's, you know, how can we get to the next level? Like, I mean, Monopoly, the simplest game that we've ever played, actual board game, you know, there's a bit of business in there, right?
Right. And it can be for everyone. And that's the thing where it's like, oh, people say, oh, well, I'm not a business person, I can never start my own business. And it's like, well, if you're passionate enough about it, you can figure it all out. You don't need to know everything. And I love when we have folks that are on our staff and they're telling me what to do. I love that because they have a passion for that specific thing that we're doing. It's like, I am no better than you. I am not above anything, because we're kind of all in this together here. And some of the stuff, because we're an aggressive growing business, yeah, we're all just figuring it out as we go.
That's so great. And trusting your employees, that's another thing that you're sharing with these viewers as well, is when you trust your employees and are okay with learning from them, you're going to create a really dynamic culture.
Yeah. And they see so many things that, as an owner, as someone that's kind of running the show, they see so many things that you miss, and you're like, I don't know how I missed that. But that is exactly like the solution that we need, or that is exactly the detail that has made it so, you know, we failed in the past. Well, now we saw that, or you saw that, and now we change what we're doing. So yeah, it's a pride thing to be able to say, okay, we're all in this together. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Thank you. So what does the future look like to you in Mill Creek Gardens? And do you have an exit plan?
Yeah. So, you know, I think I feel like we've always been in this stage where we're like this awkward teenager where we're like good at some things, and then we're like trying new things, and it's like, what are we doing? Just trying to figure it out. So I still think we're in that stage. But we are honing in on the things that we want to do. We opened up a new retail plant shop. It was Christmas of 2022. So in the past, we had been selling things out of our greenhouse. So it's a greenhouse environment. We had some materials that weren't plant, they were kind of tools and soil and hard goods for gardening. But now we actually have a shop for that. So that's really cool. That was like a big step, and we're kind of still settling into that. So I would say to a certain extent, we're starting a lot of new things. As far as our exit plan goes, it's so interesting because as a business owner, it seems like it's year after year, the years go so fast. You don't see anything besides your business. And so it's always interesting when my husband and I talk about, well, what is our exit plan? Because we're aging and we're moving on. And you know what? We love what we do, but we also are really looking forward to when either someone else is running this business when we're old and gray and we get to travel, or we're open. And I think that's the most exciting and good thing is like, we love what we do, but we love a lot of other things too. And the stage that we're in our business, we're aggressively wanting to grow. And so we feel like we're taking good calculated risks, and we'll see what happens. But we have a family in Marshfield, which is, we have one son, and it's great to see him grow into the business and just kind of love being at the greenhouse. So I'm excited to see how much he would like to be involved. But then again, it's you just don't know, but we want to kind of keep our hands open.
That's awesome. I love that you've said open multiple times, and just being open to new opportunity and to growth is so important. So the last question I have for you, all subjects open, what inspires you most? I know you used that word before too.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I know I am inspired by traveling and seeing other ways of life, and just finding beauty in kind of the mundane. So some might say that just nature around us is mundane. I don't agree with that, but it can become mundane because it's always around us. Just being able to find the beauty in things that maybe aren't necessarily manufactured. And I love how other, just going and visiting other places, and how kind of the nature is kind of brought to life, whether you're in a city or whether you're in the country. And so the stage that our family is in right now with a 3-year-old, and kind of the stage of our business, we don't travel as much as we used to when we were young. And so I'm very much looking forward to that, because I feel like I have a great opportunity to bring those types of things back to our central Wisconsin community. So just finding beauty in everyday life and the simple things, that is what inspires me, because that's something that you can tap into and access every day, which I think we need inspiration every day. It's not just, it's wonderful to go on inspiring trips and doing all these kind of unique things, but if you find inspiration in daily things, that's what gets me through. Anyway.
That is inspiring. Thank you so much. So if somebody wants to get in touch with you or to go to Mill Creek Gardens, what's the best way to do so?
Mill Creek Gardens, we're in Marshfield, Wisconsin. If you look up Mill Creek Gardens on Instagram or Facebook, you'll find us pretty quickly. Our website is millcreekgardencenter.com. But we are kind of in the center of the state, so we're a short drive, kind of from anywhere that you come from in Wisconsin, or even the Chicago, Minneapolis, Minnesota area, or Madison. So that's what we have going for us. And there's a lot of fun stops on the way, I would say. But follow us on Instagram, go to our website, sign up for our newsletter. We have a blog that we update every week or so. And if you're to the sustainability piece, I think we're an interesting business to follow, because doing things that are good for the environment. I mean, our kids are going to be living on this earth, and our grandkids, and we want to do what we can. I want to feel like I did what I could. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for all you do. And I am personally looking forward to coming up there and checking it out as well.
Yes, we'd love to have you, Stacie.
Awesome. Nice to meet you. Thank you.